kid's gone and struck terror in the hearts of squirts everywhere. The dynasty, to the families of the city, all were united. The Gravers, the arm of justice, they seemed unstoppable. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. That's the way to make every shot count. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. The inspiration, a forge can fashion anything. The city, its riches nothing but fragments now. Over there's Camp Dauncey, where the brushers steel themselves for secret missions. To prepare for the wilds, Caelandia's brushers practice at Camp Dauncey. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Sometimes the course was brutal. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Dauncey. They said they made you weak. The rules said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Sometimes the course was brutal. The good enough run at Camp Dauncey could could get you promoted to captain on the spot. The wilds ain't so scary now, are they? That's Trigger Hill, where the Army's elite became the finest marksmen in the land. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. Kid blows through that course like it was nothing. The Caelandian army would have recruited him in a flash. The Brushers, they moved in shadows, but the Calamity found them. When you've got a solid balance, you've got what you need. Now we're looking at some serious firepower. Nothing makes a gun so dangerous as a keen eye. You don't want to know what he did to that thing, but believe me, it works. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Caelandia. folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts. Learn more through music than history books. Gain a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. The young man convinced her to take him to her family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners, To do so is a terrible insult. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal. Her plan almost succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip, told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. She did as she was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand.
Tears are gonna spill. So big that won't let build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before.
The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the Calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way you left it. Turn him round and round all you like, Pith's still gonna be ugly. The faith. Mother, this one's for you. Sometimes a brusher's pike just ain't enough. That's what the carbine's for. No risk of Culford Cauldron ever erupting again, they used to say. Guess they were wrong. Not everything blew up in the Calamity. Why, Culford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Culford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Can't fault our people for their natural curiosity now, can you? Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. Kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Culford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world, the heart now laid bare by the Calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Kid's thinking he's got to trek all the way back around the cauldron. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Well, it ain't polite to stare. But where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. Kid don't shed any tears for him, though. Best to keep out of the cauldron. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney.